Well, hello and welcome, fellow shapers of the future. Just having a stroll. Now, going to check up on the sheep and see what's going down in Groove Town. Sorry I haven't recorded recently. The truth of the matter is I have recorded, but I recorded and it didn't work. I came here for 2 days overnight and recorded an absolute crazy amount. It's in the wrong codec, as in HECV or HEVEC 2.65, which my editing software couldn't handle. Noob mistake, so now I'm back in 2.64. Christ. Why don't they simplify things a lot more? I'm sure there's a generic system that can be placed. So we'll get in here and we'll have a look at. Well, hello, fellow sheepers of the future. My fine body of men. Alright, so some of them might be women trying to pretend to be men. But we've got Charlie, who I've been calling a bull. And obviously that's not a bull. That's the cows, isn't it? He is a little darling. He's now coming. But yeah, let's have a look. So my regiment here, seen too much action perhaps. It was the Dirty Dozen, and now it's the Naughty Nine. No, that doesn't quite have the same effect, does it? But we've got 9 of you. Here comes some fellow. Often the first to come. I think she's the youngest, actually. And with the young comes the curious. So, hello. Fascinating fact about sheep, which I learnt from the herdsman, and that is that what I've been calling the bull and then changed to ram is actually hello. Is actually called a tup. So that one there, this fellow with the blue bit on his chest, is called a tup, which means he hasn't been circumcised and he is a male sheep. The rest are ewes, and there's probably a technical name for them as well, but this is the buddy. I've often wondered why he had a blue chest. And well, now you look around, it becomes quite obvious what the blue chest thing is about. If you look at all of these sheep now, they've all got blue markings on their rumps, especially over there, that one, and I think this one over here, the younger one, is definitely very blue. So, hello boy. He's so big and muscly though, round that chest and that flank. And I saw him have a little charge at the herdsman, and yeah, he likes to chuck his head into it like a bull does. But yeah, if you turn your back on them, it's not really a good idea with the tup. because they will take advantage and charge you from behind. So, some interesting facts that I certainly didn't know, because I've never really had any of this this type of farming. It's always been agricultural for me, not involving animals. But these really are really, really pretty. I mean, not as cute as the lambs, but a few of those were saved, I believe, and now we've got another curious one coming to say hello. Hello. You're not photo shy, are you? Come here, let's just put that there. Hello. And my whole attitude towards sheep changed really when well, you see it on the video I made. I said goodbye to the sheep and they all came running over with tails wagging, and that was the little lambs. And if a tail wags, then you've got a connection, haven't you, really? I think it's much like a dog. They're happy in your presence, and you've just got to give them a good scratch on the flanks, from what I can tell, to get that tail wagging. I had a demonstration of that as well. But yeah, he's still tupping, as they call it. Checking out. Happens every autumn. He's only actually 1 year old. Or 1 year old. So, plenty of life in you yet. And not a bad life, I don't think. Incidentally, tupping is nothing to do with Tupperware. Tupperware was, you know, Googled it obviously. Tupperware was Mr. Tupper, which is quite a cool name if you think of the sheep world. And yeah, he named it Tupperware, and that was just after the Second World War, post World War II, to prolong food in Tupperware, to help with the food shortages. But yeah, I think that's enough facts for the day. It's making me thirsty, all this fact stuff. Let's just have a look at this pond. Whoa. Right, well that pond is completely drained empty. There is a little bit in the middle there, but that's very algae looking. I don't know if anything would live in that. Shouldn't think so. Looks like pea soup. But we've got the willows, pair of willows, weeping willow. Just to stand under the canopy of this beautiful tree. It gives you a feeling like it's protecting you. Such a trunk on it as well. Oh, that would make a brilliant tree house. One of the best, I reckon, for tree housing. Sorry if I slip into German, I am multilingual. Well, I'm not actually. Not at all. I find it hard to get my head around English most of the time, let alone foreign languages. But Hausen, I think that's German. Treehausen. I think a German would understand what I'm on about. probably not. So then we come round to this bit, and this really does bring a little bit of pleasure to me every time I walk around this area to see my handiwork, where ordinarily you would be seeing a road and people walking up and down. And it's quite a commanding view from over there, like this is like a path leading towards it, as if people or animal trails or whatever have been using this for some time. But yeah, if it's animals, they can easily find another way around. If it's people, a little bit more difficult, but yeah, they still could find a way around. But it's more of a sort of a symbol. There's no private signs up, although this is private. But that's the way she likes it. So you just try to deter people from coming in by building little fences like that, saying, look, this is somebody's land here, rather than bunging up loads of private signs everywhere. You're relying on the intelligence of the person, which yeah, there's no signs of anyone been camping in here. There's no fire pits, there's no rubbish. It's beautiful. I've found so little litter in here that this must be almost a national treasure. From what I've camped amongst and from what I've seen on YouTube as well. Pristine, untouched for 12 years. All this hazel planted 12 years ago. It's not been coppiced. Everything's just been left naturally. Obviously the goat willow, the pussy willows, were here prior to that. They were a lot older than 10 years, as you can quite easily tell. But everything else is roughly 12 years old, which is brilliant to give you a rough idea of what 12 years can do to a specific tree. As we walk through here, this is all hazel, and it's all 12 years. The poles aren't very straight, they're very hooked and crooked because it's been left naturally. If you'd coppice it, you'd get some gorgeous straight poles, and this will be coppiced bit by bit, I think. I'm not sure, but whatever she decides, I'll go with it and help out with. So yeah, everything planted 12 years ago. This oak, 12 years growth. And this dead oak, dead standing. I don't want to pull it down. Although it'd make a cracking bit of firewood and clear space for sunlight to get in. In fact, I should take that down really, because there's no way that's coming back from that. That is just totally dead. No signs of life there whatsoever. Then we've got another 12-year-old oak there. And you get an idea of the girth they reach. Obviously it varies a little bit, but it is roughly 3 centimetres girth every year. So you can gauge the age of the oak. All trees are different. And around here is all goat willow and hazel, with a backdrop of laurel, which I didn't like at first, but now I'm starting to see a few bonuses for it. Being evergreen is going to create a nice bit of wind protection and a little bit of privacy. Although it's not native, You can usually tell native species or non-native species because they look like they belong in some tropical place. This has got a glossy sheen to it. It's a very thick, oily leaf. Yeah, that's not a UK species. Although it seems to be settling in here. What damages and what effects it has, I really don't know. Then we've got a couple of really old oaks here, and if you start to measure one of these, I can tell from previous measurements of these oak trees that that is going to be approximately 3 meters, maybe even 4, which would give it an age 3 meters, 300 centimeters, 100 years for 3 meters, 120, 140, and that's what I think we're talking, somewhere under 200 I would guess, but certainly not too far under, as a rough estimate obviously. But and that's rough mathematics as well in the head, so yeah, it could be a bit of leeway there, but quite often these big sturdy oaks are about 200. It's been attacked by the ivy. It looks like someone's cut it a little bit here or there. That's open to debate. I personally would cut it. And here we've got a burr, which it's like a canker on a tree, and inside this burr the knots and the direction of the grain of the wood would be incredibly complex, and you polish those up and they are something else, or make something out of it. There is also a huge burr at the bottom, all the way around the base. Well, that half anyway, not all the way around. So yeah, they're called burrs. They can be treasured just because of that grain structure they have. So yeah, the ivy, it creates a lot of habitat for little things like the robins, the finches and whatnot, squirrels, whether you like them or not. That barricade is still blocking that little entrance. I should make something a little bit more permanent, I think. Although it has done the job, it's allowed everything to grow up in front of it, where it is all flattened down. And you can see as you look over there, there's what looks like a lot of bramblage. I thought that was blackthorn at first, but it's not, it's brambles. But that makes it awkward for people to clamber through, doesn't it? Just noticed there's a bit of barbed wire across here. I didn't know that. But the canopy these laurels give off, or just spiked myself on something, is quite incredible. This isn't the thick part, this is the thin part of it. But it creates a really good overhang. So as we follow the laurels along, it's the whole of this corner, and you get to see what they're like. There's not much gaps through there, is there? Great windbreak. It's going to be a bugger to trim them, if ever you wanted to. The size of them is quite something. And they're also getting more girth, so they're eating away at your land a little bit, or taking up more space, but I think it's worth it to stop that easterly wind, which is the coldest in winter time around these parts. And then we've got this pair of lime trees here, which I've camped under in a previous episode. I found this to be quite a chilly corner, being on top of the hill, really. Let's come around. And here we've got lots and lots of blackthorn, I think. Yeah. Yeah, because they like to coat themselves in algae, and the leaf shape is ovular, unlike the hawthorn, but they are kind of the same. Like this is a blackthorn. Not too much greenery on the ends of these spikes at the moment, but if you scratch yourself on one of these, it will usually go septic. So get your Germaline out, get your antiseptic cream on it, and you'll be okay. Would have been a much bigger problem back in the day. Where antiseptic creams weren't so readily available, I'm sure people would have lost limbs to this and even perhaps died from the infections this has given off, and is often referred to as a bit of an evil wood, the blackthorn, used by witches, obviously. Blame the witches. Great for walking sticks and things like that. Quite a nice hard wood. This is all blackthorn, there's no hawthorn, which is unusual. I would like this to grow in the lower end of the field, in the corner. And I'm wondering if we could transplant maybe one or two smaller ones, because they are definitely coming in. There's a little blackthorn all on its own in there. That could easily be dug up and moved to that bottom corner, and start filling that up with blackthorn that could then be layered over, producing a nice straight upright hedgerow, and obviously stopping people coming in with the nasty little spikes on the bugger. I'll show you what I mean. You have to be careful with these. Hawthorn, not such a problem, but blackthorn, it has this algae on there, and that will go septic. Just that. There's a little scratch. I actually used to be a cross-country runner, and part of one particular cross-country track we used to run through involved a lot of ditches and a bit of woodland, muddy ditches. And I just brushed against one of these with my arm, and that's produced a scar for the whole of my life. Just one of these little thorns, because obviously I didn't know that it went septic or caused any problems. I remember it being a bit of a pain, but being young. But yeah, that actually caused scar tissue just by scraping against it as I ran at light speed through the woods, obviously, much like a speedo bike. But yeah, so blackthorn, often considered to be the dark side, and hawthorn often considered to be the white side, or the light side. But ovular leaves, hawthorn leaves are a lot like a kind of very small oak maple leaf. I think you all know what hawthorn looks like. It's just maybe you didn't know what the blackthorn looked like, because I didn't until fairly recently. But it does explain a few things. So now we're in the little ship bit, and they're slowly making their way up the field on their daily routine of scoffing as much grass as they can. Where's Colin? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The nasty 9. I think he had some treatment yesterday, old Colin. There's two that look like Colin. It's that one, or it's the other one. So, how's your leg work doing today, Colin? You look bloody hungry. So, Colin is definitely this one, or it's that one over there. And I can't see any problems with his walking on either of them. Oh no, yeah, that's Colin over there, although he's looking a lot better. In fact, is it Colin? Phew, you look well. If that's you. Trotting down here like a good night. New lease of life. I don't know what medicines you were given, but definitely done the job. Good work. As always, the tup is always edging the closest. He likes to show a bit of dominance sometimes over his ladies, and apparently it was good that I spent a bit of time in the field with him, just to show, look, you know, you aren't the dominant thing on the field. Apparently so, anyway. But yeah. Oh, and here comes someone. Oh, I think it's Bernard. Hello, Bernard. Hello, Bernard. And then we got Jeffrey over the back there. And let's see if I can spot the leader. I think she's actually chilling out on her own over there. Mildred Maribel. Yeah, she's got a really nice coat on her. See what Mildred's doing. Yeah, that looks like Mildred. I'm probably totally wrong. Mildred, you alright? Yeah, that, I think she's the boss. Gorgeous coat on her, I think. And a nice little fluffy hairstyle as well. Like a little top bun. Very fashionable. Anyway, enough of this sheepish stuff. I need a cup of coffee. Yeah, it might look a bit of a mess at the moment. That's because I'm kind of halfway through. I came over for 2 days and 1 night. I came over for 2 days, 1 night, and done a little bit of work here or there. Decided roughly what I want. It's going to involve 4 tarps, so it's going to be a little bit of a patchwork design, but that is the way of these tinker tents, gypsy tents. It's just using whatever you can at hand. More layers the better, really. It's going to be a very unusual shape and design. We're going to have an entrance and a cooking area spanning off to the side. Yeah, and this is the old bed, this wooden fence hurdle. That's the old bed. I added just a couple of newer bits of a couple of layers just to knot it all together again, because it was made out of dry, completely dead standing wood. So I just added a few live bits in there just to give it a bit more structure and keep it together a little bit more. Even tied a little bit of hazel cordage around that middle section there. As you can see, that it comes out looking very much like rope, and a bit more twisting and treatment, I'm sure that would be. But these are things to learn for another day. So now we have got this huge long tent, and it can be made a lot longer yet. There is perhaps another meter's worth of space at the back end, and also this tunnel is going to be just like a porch to, or shed, for me to sit and whittle and do all my little sawing and woodworking, whatever. So yeah, and then the stove is off to the left there, which I'm now going to pull out of there. I did try it with the army canvas, and that seemed like that was going to work really well. I just need to punch a hole through the army canvas and find my jack, stove jack, fireproof hole. I'm not sure where that is. I have got fireproof materials that I could easily make another one with, but I don't know. There's no need yet for a hot tent. It's plenty cool enough, and I can have a like a walled off, what would you call it? I don't know. Anyway,